I used to think that if I just became more frugal, I'd automatically have more money. So I clipped coupons, chased sales, downloaded every store app for the sign-up discount, bought the cheapest groceries I could find, and tried to stretch every dollar. But over the years, I've realized something surprising. Some of the habits I thought were saving me money were actually making it harder to get ahead. Today, I want to share 5 frugal habits I don't do much or at all anymore, not because I'm spending recklessly now, but because I realized these habits were keeping me in survival mode instead of helping me build long-term financial stability. So I used to be a couponer, not like wall of toothpaste or garage full of toilet paper couponing.
Tower of pasta is 10 crates high, almost twice as tall as I am.
But I bought, my 2 to 3 Sunday papers, clipped all those coupons, plus some I printed online, had the envelopes for all the categories. If you were a couponer, you know, right? I would walk into the store with my well-organized box full of coupons looking for deals. If cereal was 70% off, into the cart. Frozen pizzas, great deal. Chips, why not? I came home feeling like I'd won, but then I'd open my pantry. I had shelves full of things that were inexpensive, but they weren't actually helping me make dinner. And I do recommend using grocery sales as a jumping off point for meal planning, but sales should support my meal plan, not become my meal plan. The problem wasn't buying on sale. The problem was buying things only because they were on sale and I had a coupon. And believe me, my first time realizing this was a real gut punch. When I cleaned out my pantry about 6 months after starting the whole couponing thing and had a pretty hefty haul to take to the trash can of expired goods or items I knew we were just never going to actually eat. So now I ask a different question. Would I buy this if it weren't on sale? If the answer is no, I might still buy it, but more often than not, I leave it behind. I'd rather pay full price for something I actually use than half price for something that just kind of sits in my pantry or my fridge. Speaking of meal plans and cooking, I genuinely love being in my kitchen, cooking, baking, even trying new recipes, but when money is tight, experimentation can get expensive, especially when we're talking about specialty ingredients. 1 tablespoon of miso paste, a jar of harissa, fresh herbs, some unusual cheese that I have to get cut special at the deli counter, and suddenly dinner costs like 3 times what I planned. And then there's the even worse scenario. Nobody likes it. Nobody eats it. Now I've spent money on dinner, but I'm spending more money to order pizza, which people will actually eat. When we're trying to save money, I stick with recipes I know my family enjoys. I can still try something new occasionally, but I save those experiments for seasons when there's a little more flexibility and wiggle room in the grocery budget. Cooking at home is one of the biggest money savers we have, but only if people actually eat what I cook. This next one surprised me the most. Refusing to pay for convenience was a frugal habit that sometimes kept me from getting ahead. When my husband and I were young, we're talking in our 20s, making entry-level salaries in teaching and ministry and with 3 very young children. We budgeted for a housekeeper. People sometimes hear housekeeper and imagine something extravagant like Alice from the Brady Bunch.
More coffee, anybody?
No, thanks, Alice.
That's really not what this was. Every 2 weeks, someone came in, cleaned bathrooms, changed sheets, mopped floors, vacuumed the carpets, and kind of reset the house. So instead of spending precious evening time or every Saturday trying to catch up on chores while raising 3 little kids, we got to spend more of that time actually being together. Today, the equation has changed just a little. The purpose for buying back some of our time has to do with our income. Both my husband and I are self-employed. We sometimes ask ourselves if paying someone else to do a task gives us enough time to earn more than we would have saved by trying to do that task ourselves. The goal isn't to spend money carelessly. The goal is to spend intentionally. Sometimes buying back our time creates opportunities to earn more, rest more, or simply enjoy our family more. And actually, buying back our time is the name of the game with today's sponsor, Factor. For the last few years, my husband and I have used Factor occasionally during especially busy or stressful seasons just to lighten the load a little bit with meal prep. Before we left for vacation last week, we had intentionally eaten through most of the food in the refrigerator, so it was pretty bare when we got home. But the last thing I wanted to do when coming home from vacation was immediately head out to the grocery store and shop and start thinking about another meal plan and another week of meals. So before we left, I placed an order for some Factor meals because I knew that would make the transition from vacation back into regular everyday life just a little bit easier. They lighten the mental load of meal prepping with super easy heat and eat meals that can help you with a variety of nutrition goals and lifestyles like calorie smart, keto, fiber filled, GLP-1 balance, or high protein. Over the last few years, my husband and I have tried probably a few dozen different kinds of these meals, and the best part about them is that they are absolutely delicious. But a close second, no cleanup. Okay, this one right here is a new favorite, the Athenian style feta chicken with polenta. This was so good, and 42 grams of protein and less than 500 calories. I think that's pretty good. Head to factor75.com or click the link below and use code CMindyMomFB50 to get 50% off your first Factor box plus free breakfast for a year. That's code CMindyMomFB50 at factor75.com to get 50% off plus free breakfast for 1 year. CMindyMomFB50 at factor75.com. Offer only valid for new Factor customers with code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase. Thank you again to Factor for sponsoring today's video, and also just a little bit of convenience for my chaotic summer kitchen. I still shop warehouse stores like Costco and Sam's, but I shop them differently now because buying in bulk isn't automatically frugal. Sometimes it's expensive. Large upfront costs, storage space for that extra stuff, food expiration if we can't use it all in a timely manner. Plus, what if my family doesn't like this huge tub of seasonally flavored gingerbread yogurt I just bought? I have absolutely purchased giant packages of something that turned out nobody wanted to eat, and then trying and usually failing to force us to finish it because, well, I paid for it. Now, I only buy in bulk when 3 things are true. I know we'll use it, I have somewhere to store it, and the unit price is actually lower than buying it in my traditional grocery stores. Because let's face it, sometimes the regular grocery store wins. And I might as well buy it in a standard size package, which is easier to store and consume in a timely fashion. When it comes to shopping at warehouses like Costco and Sam's, the math is the most important thing. This next one will sound crazy coming from me of all people if you watch my channel, but hear me out. I have made a lot, and I mean a lot, of emergency grocery budget videos and meal plans. And I still believe those videos have value. Sometimes life happens, like job loss and unexpected bills or medical expenses. Those plans have absolutely helped us get through a difficult season now and again. But if you've watched very many of those extreme budget meal plan videos from me, did you notice I often include a little disclaimer? These videos are not meant to be a sustainable way of eating and living. This is not meant to be a sustainable way. This is not meant to be a sustainable way of eating and living. These are meant to be ideas to get us through in a temporary tight spot. These kinds of videos are meant to be a jumping off point. They're meant to give some ideas and some inspiration that gets you through kind of a temporary tight spot. Basically, I say something along the lines that this isn't meant to be your forever grocery plan or your forever grocery budget. And here's why. When we're constantly buying only enough food to survive until next week, we're rarely buying ingredients at their best prices. We're not building a pantry. We're not creating margin. We're essentially constantly starting over every week or every day. The ultimate long-term goal is to build a pantry slowly. Maybe for a few weeks, my meals are incredibly simple. Maybe I rotate the same 5 or 6 or even 2 or 3 dinners. Maybe variety has to take a back seat for a little while so I can buy, some of the ingredients in bulk. Because every extra dollar can go towards stocking basic ingredients we use again and again, like rice, beans, pasta, flour, oats, chicken, ground beef, tomato products, baking supplies, spices and seasonings and condiments that we use to flavor our food. Once those staples are in place, I'm no longer rebuilding my food supply every single week. I'm just maintaining it. And over time, that gives me far more flexibility. Variety is a luxury. Sometimes giving up a little variety today is exactly what allows me to enjoy a lot more flexibility tomorrow. I don't think frugality is about spending the least amount of money possible. I think it's about getting the greatest value from the money we do spend. Sometimes that means saying no to the sale. Sometimes it means buying the convenience. Sometimes it means leaving it at the store. And sometimes it means buying absolutely nothing at all. The goal isn't to look frugal. The goal is to build a life with a little more breathing room and a little more financial margin. I'd love to hear from you. What's one frugal habit you've changed your mind about over the years? Let me know in the comments. I think we can all learn from each other.